Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. Little gambit over here. Won't be able to get a nickel for his grandmother. We've got Cameron Mickle on the podcast.
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
And we've got Jordan Christensen.
I just love that the guy like reaches down and touches the mask and then he gets shocked and he's like,
How about a magic trick? I'm going to make this pencil disappear.
You complete.
It's gone.
Did you not hear that quote Ty like a million times in high school? Oh my gosh.
I'll make this pencil disappear.
Yes.
Yeah, every day in high school.
Every day.
Every
Dude, there's
day.
so many
I will
good
say
quotes in
this
this movie. Oh my gosh, this movie's so
Heath
good.
Ledger's Joker. Guys, we are talking about The Dark Knight. It's happening. The Dark Knight. This movie came out in 2008, directed by Christopher Nolan. Its writers were Jonathan Nolan and Christopher Nolan. He works on movies with his brother. How cool is that, Jordan? That's going to be us someday. All right, and it stars Christian Bale, Heath Ledger, Aaron Eckhart, who is a Latter-day Saint Mormon, by the way.
Yeah, he
Just
was
thought
in
you
a
guys should all
seminary
know that.
video, Ty.
He's in a seminary video about sexual purity. And then he talks to his girlfriend, and she's like, and what about the pain? It's amazing. And then he goes, it's about what's fair! And then he screamed at her, and he just says, say it! What about the pain? No, he doesn't say that. That's
Rachel! Dude, yeah, oh my gosh, that part when he's like, Sarah! That like freaking gives me chills, bro.
It's got Michael Caine, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Jake Gyllenhaal's sister,
Yeah.
Cameron? Your husband?
The lesser of the two. She's still great in this.
Gary
though.
Oldman, Morgan Freeman, Monique Gabriella Kiernan, and Rondine Killen Murphy, and Nestor Carbonell, Eric Roberts.
Can we talk
Richie
about,
Foster.
like, I don't even recognize Heath Ledger.
Dude, he does not look like Heath Ledger, Jordan.
No.
Oh, and Anthony Michael Hall. Can't forget Anthony Michael Hall because he starred in a music video. Do you guys remember the music video? What was it called? Wait, it might not be him. No, that's not him. Eric Roberts. Guys, do you guys remember that music video, Mr. Brightside by the Killers? Yeah, that actor, the mob boss, Eric Roberts guy, he's like, it was Ramirez, that guy. And he goes, hey, look, pick a higher spot. That guy, he was the bad guy in Mr. Brightside's The Killer music video. Just thought I'd throw that out there because I loved the Killers growing up in high school. They were everything to me, so. Who's also a Latter-day Saint, Brandon Flowers. The Mormons are taking over the world. Okay, so let's get into this movie.
A drop from this height wouldn't kill me. I'm counting on it.
Counting on it.
Oh, dude, that looks so painful. Ooh.
Guys, we were reviewing my favorite movie of all time, so just thought I'd throw that out there. So everything could be viewed through the lens of a very biased person. So I'm here reviewing this movie. I'm going to start because I never start. I saw this movie in the theaters, and I was, to say blown away is an understatement. I could not stop thinking about this movie after I saw it. Now, Christopher Nolan has repeatedly, that's the word, repeatedly does this to my mind. Every time I left Interstellar out of the theater, I left Dark Knight out of the theater, and I left Inception out of the theater. I'm going to watch Tenet, leaving the theater. I was like, I don't even know. I view the world differently now. That's what his films do to me.
Yes, talk
It's
about
crazy.
critical thinking. Does Disney do that? No. They're like, this is our message.
Guys, this movie, need I convince you that this is a good movie? IMDb gives it 9.0 out of 10 stars. I know we don't usually go off the IMDb rating, and we're mentioning it here. This film, I reserve this word very carefully, is phenomenal. This is a phenomenal film. I like saying phenomenal film because it sounds like good alliteration. But phenomenal is a PH, by the way. Just thought you should know
It's
that.
a masterpiece.
This is an amazing film.
Oh, easily 10 out of 10. Easily.
So let's not just give it all the plaudits, but we're gonna say why we like this film because yes, we all want to gush over each other, saying who loves it more. I mean, I put it in my top 10, number 1 space, but you know, everyone else pretends they like it.
It's
as
number
much as
4
me,
for me, so I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, not high enough, Cameron. So we're going to talk about this film. So the plot synopsis: when the menace known as the Joker wreaks havoc and chaos on the people of Gotham, Batman must accept one of the greatest psychological and physical tests of his ability to fight injustice. Booyah. Guys, this movie, holy crap. Holy crap. I remember watching this movie and leaving the theater and just being so blown away, I couldn't stop thinking about it. We watched it in Park City somewhere with Rich and Kelly, I think it was. And I was sitting in the back of their truck thinking, This movie could not have been.
Did you get a bit of an uneasy
Better.
feeling, Ty? Because in the theater, like when you're supposed to laugh, some people were like, like they were so scared when Joker would say things, like because you would just like felt so disturbed.
He was saying very funny things, but it was like not funny at all.
It was
like,
so disturbing.
Yeah, like
Let's
the
not
pencil thing is
blow
kind of wowing.
It's out
but-
of proportion.
Right. We want to talk about the craziest character intro I've ever seen. Like, this has it.
The double intro, though. He gets the intro in the beginning, and he gets the intro with the mob bosses.
Yes.
With that laugh.
What doesn't kill you makes you a stranger.
Dude, that laugh reminds me of the Thriller music video laugh. Oh my gosh. That, like, evil...
Which laugh? I was going to ask you. We're all going to have to do...
So scared. Dude, just...
Sorry, that was my best impression of Thriller laugh. So let's get into it. Well, first, I want to finish what I was saying. So watching this movie again, I love it even more now. In fact, I was kind of scared to watch it because I'm like...
Me too.
I don't know if it's going to hold up.
Yeah.
I'm worried that I'm going to feel differently about it. And then I watched Heath Ledger's performance, and I watched the story and the plot and the characters and the drama, and I thought, unmistakably, this is going to be the film that I will show forever and ever, and I'll never stop watching. So, whew, boy, it's even better on this watch. So, Jordan, how about you? What was it like watching it the first time and rewatching it for the pod?
Well, like I already mentioned, watching the first time, I had this uneasy feeling. Like, there's so many times when the Joker would say things, and people would be like,
How about just the score?
Yes. Well, and that scene, Ty, that like literally disturbed me was the scene where he makes the film footage about killing that poor innocent Batman with the hockey pads. Like, that scene disturbed me so
Not the Batman
much.
with hockey pads.
I know. I was so sad for him because just this innocent kid.
If you're not the Batman, then why'd you dress up like him?
Oh my gosh. Dude, the part when he's like, look at me.
Yes.
Oh, man.
No, it's when he turns the camera on himself. He's like, this is how crazy Batman makes Gotham. You want order in Gotham. Batman must take off his mask and show everybody who he really is. Oh, and every day he doesn't, people will die. Starting tonight. I'm a man of my word. So
No,
terrifying,
definitely the
dude.
look at me got me, and it reminded me totally of Manhunter.
That scene, and then one other one, the interrogation scene, where he's getting his head caved in by Batman, and he's laughing maniacally.
Yeah.
That freaks me out. Like, is the most unsettling thing I've ever seen, dude. Like, you have nothing to threaten me with. And it's like, he's literally bashing him and trying to get him to tell where Harvey Dent and Rachel are hidden, and rigged to blow any second. It's just so intense. Holy shnikes.
Yes.
Okay.
And then rewatching
Jordan,
it for
finish your
this
thought. Yeah.
podcast, I watched it twice just because it's so good. And my roommate came by and he just watched a couple minutes and then he sat down and watched the whole movie. And this kid never watches anything with me, so it was amazing. It's just,
Yeah, you can't look away, dude. You're like,
I know.
oh, this has got to be one of the most rewatchable movies. Like, oh, this scene. I like this scene. You know, it's like, oh, I'll just sit down and watch 10 minutes, and you're like, an hour and a half later, holy
Well, and I
crap.
tried to do something. I tried to edit while I was watching it, and I just so many times I just set down my computer and I just watched. I'm like, I cannot like look away, and I was so afraid I wasn't going to enjoy it because I tried watching this a while back with Nick, and I can't. I just remember thinking I'd rather be watching something else, but
What about fudge?
that's why I was so nervous about watching it again for this podcast. But then I realized what a masterpiece it is. Like, is Christopher Nolan one of the greatest directors of all time? I mean, he might be.
Yeah.
And Heath Ledger played one of the greatest Jokers of all time. I mean, I don't
easily.
want to, you know,
I think one of the greatest, like, not only villains, but borderline characters ever.
take away from Joaquin Phoenix or Jared Leto, the greatest. But
I think I think not only like borderline the greatest villain of all time, but I think like borderline the greatest performance of a character I've ever seen in my life.
Every time I see him, I never think Heath Ledger. I'm just like,
I
yeah,
can't
it's Heath
see
Ledger.
Heath Ledger. Like, I
Yeah.
try to look at him, and I can't see Heath Ledger. It looks like literally Joker.
yeah, it's so crazy that you say that. Yeah, he's such a handsome dude. You watch movies like Knight's Tale.
Or 10 Things I Hate About You.
I can't separate. Yeah, isn't that wild? Like, I know I don't say that lightly because it's like, oh, the guy's playing a character like Joaquin Phoenix played Joker. I could see Joaquin Phoenix because I've seen all of the other films he's been in. But this one, it's like the face makeup might help a little bit, but like his manic, I don't know what it is, but it's like there's no way this guy was that unhinged. And again, rest in peace. The fact, I mean, you want to talk about an actor that we lost too soon. He was like the next James Dean. He was going to be the biggest star of all time, you know. And he posthumously won a Academy Award for Best Actor after he died somewhere in the filming of Montgomery. What is it called? Montgomery's Emporium or whatever. There was another film he was in production making, and he died due to an overdose or whatever. Although there was some controversy about whether or not he was killed, but people take a lot of medicine when you're this famous and you're like this manic playing the Joker. I really feel like that played into a part of his depression, which is, again, goes without saying, the most incredible performance of a lifetime for sure, hands down. So anyway, sorry, Kieran. Finish your thought.
What was I saying?
Or was it Jordan? I can't remember.
No. You can tell Ty's a little excited about this movie.
Yeah, I need to shut up. I'm sorry. I know.
Well, yeah. So so as I mentioned on the Batman Begins podcast, I actually watched it in the 3-2-1 order, and so watching it for the first time, I was just like, "Holy fudge, this is a movie!" Because I loved The Dark Knight Rises because it was the first one I watched, and it was one that was kind of really big when I was like, I think 14ish, and so I was super stoked for it, or 16. And so, but this one, oh my gosh, it just somehow topped like The Dark Knight Rises for me. And then it's just like amazing. And then rewatching it again, I watched it, I think 4 months ago. And then I rewatched it again last night. And it literally made me so excited watching that I rewatched Batman Begins. So I did 2-1 again. And holy freaking cow, dude, it's literally just like the most... Because I remember watching it, on the second time I watched it, I thought there were certain scenes that I was like, I thought this was from a different movie. I can't believe this is all one movie. Like, I thought the scene where he's like the heist scene was a different movie. And I'm like, I can't believe this is the same movie as this. I'm like, this movie's ridiculous. Like, it's like two movies and like two masterpieces in one.
Oh, by the way, so we just finished Inception. One thing I was going to say after watching both of these movies, Indian Seth Rogen that's sitting on the street corner with the rain coming down, he's holding his jacket, reminded me so much of the opening shot where the Joker's standing there with the duffel bag, with the gun and the mask.
Yeah.
Like on the street corner. It reminded me so much of, and the band comes up and picks him up. I'm like, dude, that's like Nolan's, like, what a great intro. Like, just somebody standing alone on the street with purpose, and then a band comes up and introduces the plot, right? Like, hey, we're robbing this bank, you know, and they're talking about, oh my gosh,
so many iconic
good
shots in this movie. Gosh, damn.
Oh my
like the
word.
scene where he's standing with the
Yes.
fire, like with the burnt down building or whatever, and Batman's like saying
where
his head
Dent just
down.
got blown halfway to
Yeah. And then there's like the monologue quotes in the background too, and you're just like, this is so freaking amazing. It's like Jim Gordon talking about Harvey Dent. It's so freaking good.
Dude, how did he get my DNA? You know, you could have used an old tissue or a fingerprint or a glass. Wait! It freaks me out every time I see it. And he can't save him in time, and he drank some freaking acid from his desk. It's just so intense, dude. He kills the lieutenant, the chief police or whatever. So magic. Or the old commissioner, right? That was the old commissioner, right?
Yeah.
I think it's the old commissioner.
Jim was just shooting
Anyway.
for his job. That's why he let him drink it.
You Gary Oldman. Gordon, you mean? Oh, it's Jim Gordon.
Gordon,
I
yeah.
was going to say, it's like, who are you referring to? He let him die. You're terrible, Karen. You're terrible. So, what was it like? Oh, yeah. So let's say two of our favorite things from this movie. I'm going to start. The Heath Ledger, everything about the Joker. He's always been one of my favorite villains. He's the perfect Bane to the existence of Batman. It's funny they say Bane, because Bane is also another great villain, but I think there's something so much, like, again, Heath Ledger captured the Joker and everything I wanted from him. And I've always mentioned this, but the three stages of Joker throughout the ages, right? You had the old Jack Nicholson Joker, kind of crony capitalism. Then you had this one that was after 2001. It was about domestic terrorism. It was always what we feared, right? And then the newest Joker, Joaquin Phoenix, he's manic depression and all the ills of society and things like that, mental illness and crippling from the economy and the news media and TV shows. So I just loved this depiction because it's probably one of the ones I was terrified of most. I grew up like 8 or 9 years old watching the Two Towers collapse. It was terrifying to watch. And like I just remember like everyone was like didn't know what to do or say, you know, and it was like this could become a regular thing, right? I just remember that being the thing. I'm like, before 9/11, like it was just everything was kind of nerfed, especially here in America. Like, I mean, like bad things didn't happen here is basically my point. And a lot of us were just blind to it. And so I was blown away. And so this film like really impacted me. And like you said, Jordan, it's unsettling.
Bad things didn't happen since Pearl Harbor is what you're saying, right?
Well, yeah, bad things have always happened, but like for some reason, Two Towers felt different. I mean, like Pearl Harbor was like a Navy base, Army, military, right? Like, yes, it was a terrible attack, and I'm not taking away anything from them, but it was like These are innocent airlines and people just at work.
That's so interesting you say that, because that's literally what the Joker says, Ty, as he says.
Yeah, it's all part of the plan, right?
Yeah, it's like
no one
you
cares
kill
if
a
gangbanger or
a military
truck full of military. No one freaks out. And that's literally what it is.
There's actually a theory that Joker is an ex-soldier because, like, you see how accurate he is with, like, guns. He knows how to use an RPG. He knows how to use, like, all that stuff. When Batman smashes, Batman smashes his head, he's like, never start with the head. He's like, the victim always gets fuzzy, which means he's already done this before.
So he knows about interrogation.
Exactly.
Yeah. He knows about interrogation. I like that theory.
And he mentions it on when he's talking to Harvey. He's like, if soldiers get blown up on a bus, and like no one survives, he's like, no one bats an eye because it's all according to plan. I think
right, and it plays so good into the Joker.
But that's what I love is it never gets confirmed, and you never will know his backstory.
Exactly. Even the mention of how he got his scars, he tells two different versions, and he's about to tell a third to Batman before he stopped. But again, it's like he keeps sharing these examples of how he got the scars, and we don't know what's true. And when they find him, he has no ID,
You remind
nothing.
me of my father. I hated my father.
I hated my father.
Yeah, it's crazy. I love this performance. And then secondly, I would say this is one of the first few movies where I understood a little bit more about the noble lie. And there's a lot of noble lies. In fact, I always forget one in this movie where Michael Caine lies to Bruce Wayne, thinking that he's like, she chose me, Alfred. She chose me over Dent, and that I had let that maniac.
Dent can never
She was going to wait for me, and he's just like, yeah, Dent can never know. And then he has a letter, literally, to Bruce that from Rachel right before she died. That's like, I'm going to marry Dent, and I'm not going to wait for you. It's like, well, that worked out really perfectly. Yeah, hey. Bad, naughty, naughty. She's in a relationship with Dent. She makes out with Bruce. Not okay.
Yeah, what the
Not
F?
okay. Naughty, naughty.
Literally does that,
Nice
and
work.
then she's like,
You
that day's never gonna come. And then she's like, freaking a day later, yeah, I'm gonna marry you, Dent.
Let me kiss you a little bit. Yeah.
Whore.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so, secondly, I would say I love the...
What's your fourth favorite part on Earth?
Yeah, geez.
What? No, I've only said Heath Ledger. So far. And yeah, you mentioned things about why I liked Heath Ledger in the role. Slow down. And then, Cameron, not one shred of evidence you gave me.
This is number 4. This is your number 4 favorite.
I'm going to get a t-shirt that says not one shred of evidence. No, it's not. You can go back and listen to the tape. And my second favorite thing is, dang it, I have to choose. The action set pieces are so exciting. The flipping of the semi, that is just unbelievable.
I know. The funny part is I thought that was fake, and now I'm like, and then I looked behind the scenes and it's real, and I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
Flipped a semi with enough dynamite,
He missed.
anything is possible. Dude, the freaking, just the sound of a truck flipping through the air, and then the silence and the smash of the metal against, it's just unreal. It's unreal. So those are my two favorite things. Cameron, how about you?
Yeah, I think, like, my favorite thing about this is that just, like, obviously Heath steals the show, but, like, at the same time, everyone is so good. Every scene that, has Aaron Eckhart, dude, he's so good. I love, especially when he snaps. Oh, my gosh, he's so insane. And then I
always found that kind of funny, just when he yells, Rachel!
And then I like...
He's like, you can't give in. You can't give in!
Yeah. And then what's it
You're
called?
sick, Ty.
Settle down there. Settle down.
And then Maggie Gyllenhaal actually did amazing. I originally didn't like her as kind of like the switching of the roles of Rachel, but I felt like she was way
Katie
more...
Holmes.
I felt like she was very powerful in this, and like she was like... You saw how important she was because she like... was making
she has so much more sass too.
Yeah, and she's
though,
making
than the other Rachel.
Like such a difference in like this, like in the community, and like you see why Batman's like so attracted to her because she's like a female version of Batman, except like that abides by the law. And then Gary Oldman and Morgan Freeman, dude, I just love just every part of it. And I love how like Morgan Freeman has his line, and he's like, no, I'm sorry, as long as this is a part of Wayne like Enterprises, I'll no longer be working here. Like you're just like, oh snap, dude, like. And that's what's super interesting because that shows how, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to have your safety? And so it's like you can either sacrifice your privacy to have safety, or you can have your privacy but not be necessarily guaranteed your safety. Super crazy.
Hit us up. What are your two favorite things, Jordan?
My two favorite things is obviously Heath Ledger. I mean, you've already said that, but I want to expound upon that a little bit. I feel like you could analyze his performance, and you could spend entire podcast analyzing it. I just wanted to say, like, there's a moment where he like just his like when he comes to that party and he just like grabs things and he's like eating it, and then just like the way he moves and stuff is so unbelievably good.
Grab champagne and spills out of his glass.
All of it spilled out before he could even get a drink.
And I just love and just his jittery movements, and when he like jumps up and shoots that guy with the shotgun, and just like how he.
Where is Harvey Dent? Do you know where he is? Do you know where he is? Have you seen Harvey?
Yes, his performance is unbelievable. Like, yes, like Cameron said, yeah, everybody's doing amazing, but he just overshadows everything because he's like killing it. And every time he comes on, he steals the scene. And he is like, you cannot draw your eyes away from the screen. And that's what hooked my roommate. He just like turned to me and said, Heath is so good.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, he is. I love it. There was an interview that he did. I really liked. Heath Ledger was talking to his friend, and he basically told him where he came up with the inspiration. He goes, he had like locked himself away in an apartment, like, and was only reading Batman comics and trying to get a headspace to do Joker. And it was really cool when he said he finally like came to his inspiration. He did it to his friend, and he goes, his friend got like the chills, and he's like, "Ooh," he's like, "Who have you told?" He goes, "I haven't told anybody yet. You know, don't tell anyone." But he's like, "That's." It just made me so excited. Like he tapped into something and found like his inspiration to become Joker, and I just think that's a really cool interview. A little lighthearted because it's like when you hear about what he did to get there, it's like really sad because you're like, don't want him to spiral into depression, you know? Don't want him to die. It's just a terrifying end to his life.
Yeah, and so unbelievable performance. And then I guess kind of goes along with my second favorite thing is just I love a good build up to an action scene, and this part where they pull up in that scene and it says slaughter instead of laughter, and all of a sudden because he like puts a bloody looking S on it, and then the doors slowly swing open, he's standing there, and then he just starts shooting with a machine gun, and then he tries to unload with a bazooka. Is that a bazooka? Like, it's so
Dude,
good.
and his reaction when Batman just destroys that tow truck, he's like, Like, I just love how casual he's just like, wow, that's like him saying like, pretty impressive, Batman. Like, I just love like his reaction to just everything. And when his semi gets flipped, he just gets out of the car and he like falls down while his hands on the trigger while like being dizzy. It just shows how careless he is. It's so freaking amazing.
And I love it when he's walking down the streets. It reminded me of like Al Capone. He's just like machine gunning cars that are coming at him, and he's just insane.
And that's why I think he's the best villain, is because Batman is the definition of justice and order, and then that's why Joker is so perfect, because he's the definition of chaos. So he's literally willing to die because that means that he will win, because he will make...
I know, he was like laughing. He looked excited to die.
Yeah, because
like when he was falling off that cliff.
I want you to do it.
Because he knew if Batman killed him, then it would ruin everything Batman stood for. So he's so... And that's why it gets the vibe of the terrorist, because he knows like if I died like towards my cause, I know like I will have won.
It's so amazing that you mentioned that too, because he actually brings it up. He goes, "What am I going to do? Go back to ripping off mob dealers? No. You complete me." Like, he is serious. Like, Joker is like, you are the one person I can't corrupt, Batman, and he finds that very entertaining. Like, he's amused by Batman.
Dude, when he's clapping in the jail when Commissioner Gordon gets freaking promoted.
That was improv. Yeah.
That's dude. It's
terrifying.
Same with what's it called? Isn't the scene where right outside the hospital, isn't that improv as well?
Yes, his reaction to the bombs exploding in the hospital. The final explosion hadn't gone off, and so he like starts jiggering with the remote to set off the bomb. It explodes, and you see Heath Ledger like for a moment like duck, like holy shit, I could die right now. Like, it's crazy, right? But still in the character of Joker, because the Joker's like, oh, like he can even be surprised. He's chaotic. He's just a dog. Like right in the monologue he gives right before that, he's like, I'm just a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do if I caught one. So it's so good.
I think my second favorite thing is I just love the moral dilemma. Like, they do this so well, and that's what I really love. Gotham, the TV series, really like touches on this, because there's so many times where it's like, it's kind of the same thing with the insomnia. It's like, are you willing to be dirty to like avoid causing more chaos later? But it's like, but then are you sacrificing your own goodness? And it's like, at what cost is doing the right thing actually the right thing? And it's like, sometimes you have to sacrifice your own good, like your own integrity to sometimes benefit like the greater good. And that's just such an interesting concept, because it just shows
the greater good.
it just shows how like gray it is, because that's what I love. And oh my gosh, Kate, the two plot twists that get me every time, I always forget. One, I'm always like, what the fudge happened to Commissioner Gore? And I'm like, oh, maybe he's just hiding it. I always forget that he's driving that thing, because I always think that he's in on it. I'm always like, oh my gosh, he's one of Joker's men because he hasn't said anything. And then he's freaking like Gary Oldman. I'm like, that's freaking Commissioner Gore. Are you kidding me? And then the second one, dude, is always, I forget that.
We got you son of a. Yes. Got him.
I always forget that Joker told them the opposite locations, because he knew that Batman would probably get there first. And so he freaking gets there and he's like, no, why are you here for me? Oh, dude, that's so brave of like Maggie Gyllenhaal and Rachel. Like when she just like accepts that she's going to die, and she's like, it's okay. Like that, dude, kudos to her for like being brave enough to like accept like her death and not just like totally freak out and just be like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna die, you know. Shows kind of the type of person that she is.
Just like the Joker said, which of your friends do you want to find out were cowards?
So actually, I know them better than you do. Oh, dude, that line.
I knew him better than you ever did.
He's like, I know you're gonna enjoy this.
I'm gonna enjoy this.
I'm gonna try to enjoy this just a little more. Oh, dude.
So good.
See, in Joker right there, he pries on like your selfishness and your ego in order to get what he wants.
Picked up the glass from having his head bashed in by Batman. The broken glass. He literally was able to pick up a shard.
He is so genius.
He was always masterful. He's 10 steps ahead.
All his plans
every single time.
are so good.
And that's the
10
thing
steps
too, is like
ahead.
some people have
The Joker wanted to get caught so he could take Lau. Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable.
Some people have nitpicks of like, oh, there's no way he could have planned that. And I love it. They explain that this might have not been the plan, but it was a part of a plan. Like, he's like, whatever works, you know? He's just rolling with the punches. He's like, okay, like, he definitely had that guy sent with the bomb, and then he's like, he knew he was most likely going to get captured, but if he would have, like, escaped, it's not like that would have thrown a kink in his plans. Like, he knew what he was doing all along.
And I was so curious as to why he was, like, killing off all those guys at the beginning, but that's because his actual followers are people from Arkham, right? He likes the insane people that don't care about money.
Yeah.
And so that's why
Because it takes more convincing, because, see, even the mobsters have quote-unquote morals, right? Because they're like, we do this for money. We're businessmen. We're gentlemen, right? Or whatever. And he's like, I'm only burning my half. And he burns that giant pile of money. And he's just like, I won't work. He's like, tell your men they work for me now. And he's like, I won't tell them. You're a freak. And he goes, why don't I cut you up into little pieces and feed you to your pooches, and we'll see how loyal a hungry dog really is. Like, he is so good.
And then you see you see the three dogs later being loyal AF and fighting Batman.
Yes, yeah, he literally has the dogs. He obviously fed that mob boss to his dogs, dude. He ended up killing him. We never see him again. I'm assuming he gets fed to the dog.
Well, and talk about the most disturbing scenes ever when we're having tryouts and he breaks the stick, throws in the middle. Are you like,
three men? They all have to stab each other with a pull Q-tip that's been broken in half. It's just crazy. Yeah, things like that like, again, they leave you with a more disturbing image, and you don't even have to see it. That was Nolan. That was an Alfred Hitchcock moment where it's like, you don't even have to show it. Just the idea that they leave the three men with the pool Q-tip, that's just disturbing enough, you know? Like, and again, even a lot of the imagery is never shown. Like when he cuts Gamble, he cuts his face, they don't show it, but you just hear him, and you hear the music, and it's terrifying. Like, it puts the image in your head. He literally cut his face up or sliced his throat or something.
He does that in The Dark Knight Rises as well with Bane when he said do you feel in charge? And he's like, leave us. And he's like, don't. He's like, stay. I'm in charge. And like, do you feel in charge? And you see his reaction in the other room when you just hear him snapping his neck. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no. It's very good. Dude, that's kudos to Nolan. And it's a good way to keep it PG-13.
Yeah.
Because I'm surprised this didn't get R-rated. Like, it's very unsettling.
This movie was 2 or 3 scenes away from R.
Or language, right? They kept the language out because I'm pretty sure if they had any of the language, you know, threw in an F word or two, it's like, oh, this is R. There's no way this passes as a PG-13.
I know, this is so borderline.
Yeah. And even now, I'm like, this is a very borderline film.
Yes.
Parents' discretion is advised, please. So
I know it should just be rated R just for disturbing images, because goodness gracious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or just creating disturbing
Dude, that guy's
imagery.
the guy with the stomach and the cell phone in his stomach. Dude,
Yes.
that's disturbing
Oh.
as shit. I'm like, what the
Is that
fuck?
a cell phone? Blows up from the
Oh, then
inside,
they
dude.
said they were gonna replace it with bright lights. I'm like, what the fuck?
Make the voices go away. For some reason, he kind of reminds me of me. I don't know why that guy reminds me of me sometimes. Chubby with a wheezy laugh. I don't know. He reminds me of somebody. Oh, you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of the chubby guy that was in, what was the movie? Richard Jewell? What was the one where they discovered the bomb?
Yeah, Richard Jewell.
Is that Richard Jewell, right? He reminds me of that actor also in Cobra Kai,
Kai,
right? The chubby
Stingray.
guy. He looks like him. He looks like Stingray. I had a nitpick. One of them was Rachel Dawes in the first movie didn't like Batman because like his life is always endangered by mobs and villains. And then she's in court with Harvey Dent, and he almost gets shot by a mob boss.
And she was like into
And
it.
she was turned on by it. She was like, "Hey, if you're not nearly getting killed every day, you're not doing your job right."
I'm
And
like,
And she was thrown
was like,
out of a window when he's like, "Let her go." Poor choice of words. And she falls
Yeah.
out, and he catches her. Afterwards, she like is like totally.
"Is Harvey okay?"
Well, and I know, and she's like totally chill, and I'm like, "You were thrown out of a freaking window, psycho."
Well, 10 minutes before, she was literally being held like by her face with a
Dude,
knife
and
to
that's
it.
what-
So I guess falling out a window was less scary than
dude,
that.
that's
I don't
what's
know.
so insane is like about that scene is like I know he's not gonna kill her, but like there's moments where I'm like he might like the way he's just
or at
acting-
least cut her or disfigure her. Yeah, Frank, that spinning camera. Oh my gosh, where he's like holding them so close, and the camera's spinning, and then right when he's sharing his story, he's like, "Hey, one day," she gets deep with the sharks, and one day they carve her face. The camera stops moving. I freaking get chills every single time. Like the camera's spinning around them, and it's manic. It's disorienting. It's terrifying. But when the camera finally stops, when he says one day they decide to carve her face because he's talking about his wife or whatever, and one of his make believe stories. Each one of the stories were just as horrifying. This is something out of a horror movie, right? I mean, like getting your face carved up by your evil drinker father, getting your face carved up, or carving your own face up because your wife got scratched up by people and loan
and then
sharks.
her leaving you.
And then her leaving you because you're
You look
terrifying.
like a freak. Yeah.
It's just so messed up, dude. Like those are the stuff from horror movies, man. So crazy. I was gonna ask you guys, do you have a favorite Joker laugh? I think mine is torn between the one I already quoted when he does the terrifying home video where he tortures that chubby Batman. I'm gonna call him the chubby Batman. I'm fat shaming. The hockey pads Batman. And then the second one was when he's getting pummeled in the face and he puts his head against the wall and starts laughing maniacally. Those two laughs terrify me. Just absolutely. Those are my two favorite Joker laughs. Do you guys have a favorite Joker laugh in this one?
I do. I think I like it. Like I said, his like second intro when he's with the mob bosses when he's like
the fake laugh, yeah.
And I thought my jokes are bad.
yeah, and you're just like what the fuck?
Yeah, I thought my jokes were bad. And the suit wasn't cheap. You ought to know. You bought it. So freaking good, dude. He's just mocking them, dude.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite lines, and I love to do this when I'm working sometimes, but when he's in the car and he's like, "I love my job. I love my job." I love that part so much.
That's a great line, too. I know. It's such a weird, misplaced line. I feel like I love my job. It's like, is your job to be a domestic terrorist? It's so crazy. And then one of my favorite quotes, I can't say it. I say this all the time. It doesn't make any sense. I just say it whenever I just go, "My dogs are hungry." I do it all the time. I love it. The mob boss at the beginning. And
Yeah.
and again, Killian Murphy showing up for the little cameo where
Yes.
he's like doing a drug trade is
I
cool.
forgot he made a cameo in this one at the beginning.
Bringing back the Scarecrow. I love that he's been like reduced to just selling drugs to people and stuff. I said my compound would take you places. I never said they'd want to be places you want to go. It's like, no, you mess with my customers.
He's like that's more like it when Batman shows up in the fetching tank.
Yeah. That's not him when they show up with guns.
Yeah.
Like three fat men in suits, all QAnon conspiracy theorists.
We didn't mention either too that the whole idea of like always I just like they kind of poke fun at like killing everybody at the beginning of the heist. It's just like the idea is just like, oh, interesting. They told me something similar. Wait, what? No.
Oh, yes. He's like, one less share, right? Yeah. Funny. They told me something similar. Wait, no.
And I love it when he's like, no, I'm supposed to kill the bus driver. What, a bus driver?
Oh my god. What bus driver? Right through the
Dude,
wall. And dude, that mob boss guy, the banker, you have any idea who you're stealing from? You and your friends are dead. He's out, right? And he like shakes his head, he stands up and gets blown back, and he's like, "Where'd you learn to count, dude? It's so good."
Dude,
So that bank heist scene was so dope.
Dude, and that quote from Joker is so legendary. Where he's like, "It's simple. We killed the Batman." And he's like, "If it's so simple, why haven't you done it already?" He's like, "If you're good at something, never do it for free."
That's right, dude. Good business.
And then obviously, of course, the most iconic quote maybe of all time, like, "You either die a hero."
Iconic quote?
Yeah, iconic quote is you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, dude. Could not be more true in this movie.
It's good, but I have to be honest, watching it this time, I thought it was just a little cheesy seeing Harvey Dent say that line for some reason. Good little goody two-shoes Mormon boy saying that.
Well,
I don't know.
no,
it just
okay,
made
well,
me laugh,
I thought he was trying to be like all pompous and like show off for Rachel in front of Bruce.
Well, he was. You're into ballet. I love that when he's like, "Oh, taking Rachel to the ballet later," and he's like, "Oh, you're into ballet." I love that jab, that little jab. It's so fun. And then he buys the ballet, and they're on that ship with them. So their ballet show was canceled. I love that. It was so funny. He buys the whole ballet dance team or whatever, and they're all, what's the French term for apply your own bloody suntan lotion? I love that from Alfred, dude. And what does he do with that girl? He like gestures her to get out of the chair. Like, what was that about? I guess he was about to apply suntan lotion to her. Alfred's getting it, dude. he's an old man, still getting lots of action.
I just love it when he's like, "You're garbage who kills for money," and then he's like, "Don't talk like one of them. You're not. Garbage. Even if you'd like to be, to them, you're just a freak like me. They need you right now, but when they don't, they'll cast you out like a leper."
When the chips are down, these people, civilized people, will eat each other. Favorite line.
And then when he says, "See, I'm not a monster. I'm just ahead of the curve." Just like Jared Leto, head of the curve.
And I'm not wearing hockey pads. I love that. Hey, what gives you the right? I love that guy. That guy what a great line delivery. What gives you the right? It's like a chubby little Batman.
Dude, and the most icon of Joker when he's like, "Do I really look like a guy with a plan? You know what I am? I'm a dog chasing cars." Like, it just explains how he's just like, "I'm just rolling with whatever craziness is going on." Like, do you actually think
Were you mauled by a tiger? Were you mauled by a tiger? A dog, huh? A big dog.
Yeah. He's like, "Today's that day you get to say it."
I love, too, all of a sudden, when he sees Rachel on his monitor, and he's like, "I don't suppose you have me followed on my day off." I love that. Alfred asking Batman, dude, being stalked.
He's like, "If you ever did take a day off." Such a cool moment with Michael Caine when when Alfred's talking to Bruce, and he's like, "What would you have me do, Alfred?" And he's like, "Endure." He's like, "Because you needed, like, it was such a tough situation, but it's really what he needed to do. Like, he needed to not negotiate and have the people hate him for the greater good." But then freaking Harvey Dent came in real clutch and just saved the day.
Oh, so one of my other favorite quotes, that whole dilemma at the end with the two fairies. I love they're like, "Okay, well, we should talk about this." And he goes, "Now, who are you to decide?" The guy that ends up taking that guy is so evil. I'm glad he didn't end up pulling the lever, because I honestly believe in Joker's sadistic way, he probably would have had them blow up their own boat.
Or
like
both.
That would just be an insult to injury.
Or both, yeah.
Right? Like, he totally would have. And I love when he looks at the time, he's like, "You got to do everything yourself." Like, because he proved him. He's like, "You want to prove that everyone is as ugly as you. You're alone." I love when Batman says you're alone. I'm like, spoken from somebody who's dead parents. Batman would know if Joker's alone. They have each other. They could be best friends, even though they're completely pitted one against the other, you know? Batman and Joker are such a good pair. An immovable object and an unstoppable force meet each other. That's what they are.
I love the metaphor of the bandit in the forest, and then Bruce, like, right at the end, he's like, "The bandit in the forest, did you ever catch him?" He's like, "Yes, how?" He's like, "We burned the forest down." I was like, "Oh, fudge!"
Yes, that was a great line.
And the imagery of fire and Harvey Dent. Anyway, I also loved it, just that guy, again, back on the ferry. "Who are you to decide? We ought to talk about this." And then he goes, "Why aren't we talking about this?" He was like the
Talk about the
worst guy
creepiest criminal, though.
ever.
Give it to me. I'm gonna do what you should have did 10 minutes ago. And you're like, "Oh my god!"
And then he throws it. What if he accidentally threw it
And
against the wall and
missed.
it detonated, right? And some other thug picked it up off the floor and blew up the thing. I'm just saying, it barely hit the window.
Yeah,
and
he almost missed, dude.
Bounced off. Yeah, must have been that lazy eye of his. It was a water fail safe. Oh, by the way, I was wondering why everyone didn't evacuate the boats. Joker said he was watching. He could see if everyone started evacuating the boats with lifeboats, he would have blown them up anyway. So, but I'm just letting you know, if I was individually on that ship, I would have jumped into the water. Wouldn't have cared about everybody else. I'm like, I'm not going to sit on this rig. I'm going to swim back to shore. Just saying. I'm selfish. I'd be like, yep, I'm getting off this boat. But I guess if I had my family there with me, no, I guess we'd stay on. Hello and welcome. Kevin Wild just joined the podcast. He's just listening to all of our favorite quotes from Dark Knight.
I'm not wearing hockey pads. Although I think
Definitely already been done. Yeah, we've done most of them, Kevin, just so you know. We're winding down. Any other last minute quotes or favorite scenes you wanted to throw out there?
When he's just like, "You're a lucky man," and then he flips it again. I was like, "What? Oh my gosh, he's flipping it again." He's like, "He's not." It's like, "Who? Your driver." I was like, "Oh my gosh!" What was his
Yeah, so one nitpick I actually had is I don't buy Harvey Dent doesn't shoot the Joker because, again, yes, he loses Rachel, but in that moment where he flips the coin and he's willing to let Joker go because he got the lucky coin flip, I don't buy that that Harvey Dent lets Joker go. I know he believes in chaos and whatever, but just before that, he was flipping a one-sided coin with two double-headed coins, so he always got his answer. So the idea that he's all of a sudden now about chaos and order and fair, and I don't buy it. I think Harvey Dent would have
I
shot
think
Joker
the
right then and
explanation
there.
for that is just that he went insane. I mean that's the only plausible
Right.
explanation because like in the end, like there's no rational person could say that he didn't do it.
Yes, exactly. And then last other nitpick is, did we have to pin it on Batman? I'm just saying, like, does Batman need to be blamed for this? Like, okay, like, yes, blame the Joker, blame anybody, but, like, does Batman have to be the one that murdered them? Like, you could let Dent get off. Like, aren't there, like, well, I guess all the mob is put away. I was going to say, blame any of the mob members, but they're all in prison right now.
That's
so
that's the biggest nitpick. That is the number one nitpick is like, why does Batman have to take the blame? Harvey,
To be fair, I like the idea that it was just kind of an off the cuff
or
moment where he
the
goes, "You gotta-"
Joker did, or that the Joker
Right.
did it. Like, pin it on the Joker. Not
No,
so-
but Joker was busy rigging oil rigs, you know? They know.
do you think
but
people
he
are gonna
does-
look that much into it?
Gordon, yes, they will. They'll be like, hang on a second, something doesn't add up. And then there'd be an investigation down the line, and they'd find out that Batman had something to do with it.
But they wouldn't even be able to find that Batman did it.
Oh, by the way, don't they, in The Dark Knight Rises, spoiler alert, I'm pretty sure they, like, release the real information about Harvey Dent, don't they?
It's because
They
Gordon
do.
feels guilty about, like,
Yes,
Batman
about the noble lie.
about Batman taking the blame, and so that Batman
A silent protector.
so he has a written confession.
A watchful
he
guardian.
keeps on wanting
the
to
Dark Knight.
that he keeps
Sorry.
on wanting to announce it. He really wants to announce, like, okay, this was a cover up. Batman didn't actually do it. Dent did. And eventually that gets released anyway. But like, that's one of the biggest conflicts at the beginning of The Dark Knight Rises. If I recall correctly, it's been a while since I've seen that movie.
Just terrifying. That scene where Nestor Carbonell and Harvey Dent are in that room together, and the Batman comes swinging at the freaking glass pane. That's the most terrifying.
Yeah,
Forget
that terrified
scene.
me the first time.
It's terrifying. Every time I forget it's coming up, I always forget.
Oh my gosh, that's like one of the biggest jump scares in a non-horror
easily,
movie.
for sure. Hands down. I was just gonna say. So, Kevin, do you have a favorite Joker laugh in the movie? Is there like one that you really like?
I was
It's so
gonna
manic.
like when I was muting myself and not jumping in, and I really wanted to jump in. What it was gonna, it was. I
had self-control.
agree with you. I agree with you 100%. It's definitely the one in the video where
Yes.
he's torturing the chubby.
So eerie.
You're fat shaming the fat shaming guy. The fat shaming
Well,
victim.
and there's like screeching sound that comes on too. It's terrifying, and the camera and the image goes fuzzy because he's swinging the camera around. The guy's screaming, so you know he's like torturing him or killing it. It's just so horrible. It's straight out of a horror movie.
yeah.
Like that's not even something that's more disturbing than anything in the Saw franchise. That clip.
I'm
not kidding.
gonna have to disagree with you there, just because of all the blood and guts that happens in the Saw franchise.
No, but hey, to be fair though, sometimes that takes me out of it. Like I'm not a big gore torture guy or whatever, gore fest guy, but I will say though, like psychological, unsettling things stick with me longer. Like talk about movies like The Witch and It Follows. Like it's not necessarily what you see, it's about what you don't see. That's what affects me more. It's the unsettling, haunting, and sickening feeling I feel afterwards. Just imagining what he did to him.
Well, not to
Poor Teddy Batman.
distract, but like there's a comment I saw. I forget where I saw it, but the reason, it's something I completely agree with, is like the reason why Batman: The Dark Knight works so well and why it's so distinct from other superhero movies is because it's not a superhero movie so much as a noir film about Batman.
Yes, and I hope they do that with the new one with Robert Pattinson, because as much as I like the action, it's about characters and it's about the struggle, and I don't need to see a lot of hand-to-hand combat, even though watching Batman beat that clown, who the hell are you supposed to be? just like pummeling his face in. I'm vengeance. Like it's gonna be great if you just make it. They could make a movie like Seven, Batman. You know, just slap Batman as the detective. I would watch the hell out of that movie. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's because you know Batman is a superhero that's uniquely good for a noir type setting, and
Yes.
if you see some of like the animated versions, is that a lot of the animated movies that are out there about Batman are also kind of noir type things.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Ty,
never
what's he
about the
gonna say?
action and flip kicks. It's
What's
always
in
the
the
brooding
box?
mystery.
Exactly.
I know. Yeah.
What's in the
What's in the
box?
box? Oh my gosh! It's Rachel Dawes' head.
But
Rachel.
but I am very nervous about the Robert Pattinson version. One
Why is that, Kevin?
was because I've heard rumors about it. Yeah, I heard rumors.
Rumor has it.
I heard rumors that Robert Pattinson really didn't refuse to actually work out for this role. He refused to get in shape, and so you,
Kevin, have you seen Robert Pattinson? It's not like he needs to work out. The kid is
no. So apparently
abs
he
upon
came
abs
in.
upon
According to
abs.
rumors, apparently he came into the shoot completely out of shape, and they literally delayed shooting for him to get into shape, and then he still didn't get into shape.
Dude, that's just people trying to throw shiz his way, man. Dude, he doesn't need to be big muscle. He doesn't need to be Ben Affleck. In fact, I will say it. Ben Affleck is the second worst Batman we've ever had. Well,
I
don't know if
disagree.
he's the third. He's after Val Kilmer, and he's after.
I like Ben Affleck actually.
I think Ben Affleck was actually a good Batman.
Yeah, me
I
too.
really
He just
do.
didn't have good
Yeah.
writing behind him.
He was a good
sorry.
character put into bad situations by a misguided director.
Yeah, we actually saw that Batman
fair.
vs Superman together, didn't we, in the Dollar Theater?
Yeah.
That was fun.
And again, I liked it more than most because I had no
me
expectations
too.
going into it.
I did too.
To be fair, I saw 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is a better
Yes,
movie
we're aware.
with like a fraction of the budget. So I saw that in the
same
same
night.
night and thinking, wow, Batman vs Superman was a real big letdown. Especially since Cloverfield 10 Lane came on before. I was actually there to see Batman vs Superman. I was pleasantly surprised by this total indie film. Anyway. Sorry, that's another. I've shared that many times, but I'm disappointed because yes, like you guys
Many
said,
times.
many times. I need some. Don't come to me with your problems, okay?
And so, as I said, like I want. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to see that Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. I want to like it. I am just nervous.
Hey, Kevin, nobody's more nervous than me because I think it's the greatest trailer I've seen of all time. Like, it goes up there.
I didn't like the trailer. I'm not a
I
fan.
fetching love the trailer. Well, you probably don't like Nine Inch Nails and you don't like the new Commissioner Gordon. Why, Kevin? Is it because he's black? Racist much?
It's Nirvana, Ty. Is it Nine Inch Nails? I thought it was Nirvana.
I thought it was Nine Inch Nails. Maybe it is
No,
Nirvana.
Nine Inch Nails
I don't
does
know
the music
anything.
for Soul. At least that's what I heard.
I don't listen to Nine Inch Nails or Nirvana. I don't even like that Smells Like Teen Spirit song. I know everybody does, but just kidding.
Well,
that is the one
I mean,
song I actually
the
like. from
Nirvana guy. I forgot the lead singer.
Kurt
saying.
Cobain doesn't even like that
Yeah,
song.
Kurt
I
Cobain
know.
didn't even like the song. He hated the fact that it was.
Everybody's favorite song
Yeah.
of his, and he was like, I made it as a parody of a joke of the culture that I hate so much. Yes.
Yeah, and he refused to perform it.
Yeah. And everyone's like, shut up and do the Nirvana. Do the Yeah Ding Dong song. Yeah Ding Dong. Euro Trip, if anyone, or Euro, whatever that movie is with Will Ferrell and Rachel
Eurovision.
McAdams. Did you see that one, Cameron?
Which one?
Did you see
No.
Eurovision?
I saw it
No,
too.
I never saw it. It looked
It's
terrible.
funny.
dumb.
Looked
It
rough.
looked
it's
terrible,
funny.
so I didn't watch it.
Dumb.
Watch it with me. It's actually really funny. I'm a good person to watch movies with, though. Comedies especially.
You say that
Guys,
every
would
other
you
podcast.
recommend The Dark Knight? Would you recommend The Dark Knight?
100%.
Yes. This is my favorite movie of all time, and I even like it more now. Did I fawn over this movie enough to convince you to watch it? If I didn't, check your pulse. You might be dead inside. I fetching loved this movie. I love it to this day. It's very
Love it.
unsettling. It's very dark. Protect your kitties, but everyone should see it. Force your kitties to see it. Teach them about horrors of the world. Teach them about terrorism.
When I first saw the movie, didn't like it, but it grew on me over time. Now I love it.
Yeah,
You didn't like The Dark Knight the
It
first time you
freaks me
watched it?
out.
But what
It
was-
freaks
Yeah.
me out. I was
think
like
it freaked out
15 when I
everybody,
first saw
Ty.
it.
Oh, it freaked
if
me
you
out,
want to see
but I
the closest
fucking loved it.
representation to Osama bin Laden, like as a fictional character, holy shiz, dude! I'm telling you, bro. Like the videos that he would submit were the exact same, like similar videos that because Osama bin Laden would submit
Oh, yeah.
videos through like phone,
Beheading.
yeah, and just like stuff like that. So it's ridiculous.
Grainy, grisly images.
Yeah, and he just like he felt like he had no like motive except for just wanting to watch the world burn. He's just freaking insane. Just wanted to watch the U.S. like just burn to pieces.
Some men just want to watch the world burn. And then you see Joker's face on that screen. Like, oh my gosh. Would you please just give me a minute? I love all these quotes from the Joker. He is so funny. Every single thing the Joker says is comedy gold. But it's not fun. Yeah. And he still manages to be so unsettling, but he's so funny. And but you don't laugh at anything he says because it's terrifying.
Well, and the thing is that like you can see just how what's the word for when an actor tries to become a character in order for a role? What's that called?
Character acting?
No.
Or you mean
when they're like lost in their role, right?
When they're in character on and off set.
Method acting.
Method acting. Is that you can tell that Heath Ledger very much method acted for this role.
And then Jared Leto tried
because he was so good at this role. Is like he really were convinced that he was actually that character. Is like that he actually was that insane. And so it was and it's not surprising that being that intensely into a role did drive him to unfortunately take his own life.
Hey, but he still didn't need to be a about anything, right? And he was better than Jared Leto and didn't have to send used
Jared
condoms
Leto.
and dead
Oh
rats
my
to
gosh.
people. What an idiot! I just have to get in a more disturbing headspace than Heath Ledger by being a to my co-stars. No thanks.
Yeah, Jared Leto, the worst Joker.
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna hurt you really, really bad. Or no, wait, I'm not gonna kill you.
I haven't even finished the Justice League Zack Snyder cut, so I can't make judgment on how he shows up in that. But from Suicide Squad,
like 30 seconds, and it's cringeworthy, Kevin.
Okay, good to know. But oh my gosh, Jared Leto was the worst Joker ever. It's not even close.
The worst one? I don't know. You should watch the old Adam West. Some days you just can't get rid of a bum. Like, you gotta watch the old Adam West.
Worse than that.
Yeah.
Worse than that.
That Joker's pretty cheesy, though. Yeah, that Joker's pretty cheesy. Not gonna lie.
It's because he was like trying to be, and I know I'm stealing this opinion from somebody, but he was like trying to be like Jim Carrey if he were a drug dealer.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Hunka. Reminds me a lot of Jim Carrey. All right, folks, I definitely recommend this. Does anyone not recommend this film? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Leave us a 5-star review. Futro Movies at yeah, Kevin didn't like it the first time. What a terrible take from Kevin Wilde. Why did we have him on the podcast? Doesn't know good art if it bit him in the butt. Okay, so we're going to end this podcast. Leave us a 5-star review. Like us, share us, subscribe. If you're listening to YouTube, leave us a comment. Tell us what movie you'd like us to review next. Leave us an email, futuromovies@gmail.com. Tell us what we got wrong about this movie, or tell us a movie that you'd like us to review in the future. This is Futro Hid Movie Jim signing out. Peace.
I'm Batman. Let's put a smile on the face. Why so serious?
I love this job.
Okay, I just had to add this. This was a thought that was bothering me. At the end of Dark Knight discussion, I basically said, why did Batman have to take the fall for all the men that Harvey Dent killed? Guys, we talked about how Batman's one thing is that he will not kill people. At the end of Dark Knight, he kills Harvey Dent. Batman murders Harvey Dent. You heard it here, folks. Guys, he dives at Harvey Dent, stops him from killing Gordon's boy, and knocks him off of the scaffolding. He barely clings on with his dear life and holding on to Commissioner's son, throws him up to Commissioner Gordon and falls, nearly dying himself. But he killed Harvey Dent. He threw him off that platform. Killed him.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, maybe they couldn't pin it all on Harvey Dent because they had to keep up the noble lie. But also, how do you explain Harvey Dent's death if you don't pin it on Batman? That's really what happened.
Yeah.
But they have to keep up appearances saying that he was the White Knight. So they just said Batman was going rogue. Harvey Dent tried to stop Batman, right? But it's like, yeesh. And the crazy thing is, Gordon's family also has to go along with the noble lie. Think about that. His kids have to keep a tight lip. I just had to throw all these things in there. I just thought of them as, this movie's crazy.
Yeah, it was. I mean, when Ty mentioned it just a moment ago before this recording, it was kind of blew my mind a bit too. Although I wouldn't say he murdered him. He killed. There's a difference between kill and murder.
Yeah, he didn't murder in cold blood. He literally killed him to save a child's life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's because
he still broke his rule. He broke his rule.
He broke his rule, and like what you were saying, Ty, is like he did what the Joker predicted that he'd have to do. Is like he'd have to break his rule
while he was being interrogated. Then tonight you'll have to break your one rule, and it wasn't the same evening, but that the fact that the Joker said you'll have to break your one rule.
And he did.
So he already knew about this, and he did. And it wasn't, because I thought that was weird that he said it there, because all he did was rescue either Rachel or Harvey Dent. And it's like, he's not breaking his rules there, but he did say, like...
And he definitely wasn't going to have to kill Joker there.
Yeah. He wasn't willing to kill Joker because Joker gave him the information. So it is interesting that the Joker, again, many steps ahead, figured he'd have to put a stop to Harvey Dent. That's crazy! And whether or not he was there for it, because remember, he does, as one last taunt when he's hanging upside down, tell him, I just did what any object needs at the end of a cliff, just a little push, yeah, let the gravity do the rest or whatever. And that was the Joker, dude. He's manic, and he's laughing at the very end when the SWAT team arrest him. And I just kept thinking, like, man, if he hadn't died, the incredible performance and third movie installment we would have had of the Dark Knight trilogy.
Because, yeah, you're not going to recast him. You are not going to recast him.
No, absolutely not. Well, you could always have someone legendary like Jared Leto act as...
at least we can mock Cameron while he's not here.
Yeah.
Cameron, you're for that opinion.
What's his opinion? What does he think?
That he likes Leto's Joker.
He doesn't like Leto's Joker.
Oh, I that was the impression I got.
Oh no, I think we all. I sarcastically say Jared Leto is one of the great. Yeah, it's a very tongue in cheek, Kevin.
Okay.
So,
Cameron.
Yeah, now you're up to speed. Yeah.
Okay, Cameron. I apologize. I thought you liked Jared
but
Jared
no.
Leto's
To be fair,
Joker.
he does like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker a lot. In fact, I don't know if he would put it on par, but I definitely think, and I would say, yeah, I think he's probably the second best Joker depiction we've had. Third is Jack Nicholson. Although it's different because I've already shared this with you before about Joker's portrayal throughout time. But anyway, we're going way over, but I just wanted to throw those thoughts in about The Dark Knight, how to make sure that I voiced those things, because that was very important to me, because Joker predicted that Batman would be breaking his rule, and he definitely did. And again, you could argue that it was totally justified, sure, but Batman does not kill people, and in the entire Batman trilogy, he doesn't. He actually killed Harvey Dent in the second installment of Batman. That's what makes it so much more intense. Batman did have to break his one rule, and Joker foresaw, whether completely planned exactly how it would happen or just hoped it would, he got him to do it. And it's so crazy that happens. So
the only thing is like, if you really stretch the definition of kill,
he
then you can
pushed
say
it out of the way.
Like this is, I mean, like his same loophole for when Ra's al Ghul died. Is that he's like, oh, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. But
that's fair too.
Like,
but this one was a little bit more of a push than a train that's just going off into a
But he was just like,
parking
well,
lot.
I didn't kill him. The ground did.
Oh my gosh, Kevin, you'd be an excellent lawyer. Your Honor, my client wasn't killed by the Batman. The ground did. His brains are splattered all over the ground.
But the ground didn't.
But the ground did it. Batman didn't do it. Oh my gosh. Well, that defense could have helped Cobb in Inception, when his wife died. Well, Your Honor, Leonardo DiCaprio, that gorgeous man over there, he did not commit this murder. The ground did.
Well, not to mention, he didn't actually do that, did he?
No, she killed herself.
Yeah, she killed herself and tried to frame it on him.
Yes.
So the defense is like,
I'm just saying, all he needed is a lawyer like you, Kevin, to be like, hey,
who killed herself and tried to pin it on me for reasons that are not.
But she had herself declared sane by 3 different psychiatrists, Kevin. That's mentioned in the movie.
Like the fact that she had to do that is evidence.
All he would have needed was a lawyer just like you to be like, hey, Your Honor, I rest my case. It wasn't my client. It was the ground. Clearly the ground killed her. My client had nothing to do with it. You're such a goofball, Kevin.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. That was my final thoughts I had to throw in about The Dark Knight. Crucial evidence that Dark Knight did have to break his rule. Did the Joker win? I think he wins, guys. And they had to pin it on Batman. And that is why, because he killed Dent. That's my testimony. And I leave it with you. And no, okay.
Jeez, how you going to go close, dangerously close to heresy there.
No, everybody, thanks for tuning in. I guess you can add this in at the end. Peace.
Adios.